If these walls could talk. How's everybody doing? Uh, we're supposed to have another host for you today named Susie Carmichael, who has a brother in prison. And she was supposed to be on here this morning to host prison politics, and that's what Lincoln is starting to do. He is starting to let people who's in prison, family member, be a host instead of a guest on prison politics. And whereas the family member could call in, you and they can have they can have they can have a show on how prison affects the family, not only how it affects the person who's in prison, but how it affects the family, and then just to sit up and let it be a family, communication on there, to show, and hopefully everyone could feel, and maybe something could be done about prison. Um, how can I say it? I really wasn't ready for this morning because, again, I said supposed to have a guest on. Um, well, I was talking to the young lady last night, and cause she wanted to be on here, and that was her dream to have a podcast. So Lincoln had told me to, you know, from now on, like I said, young people's gonna come on here and they're gonna be hosting the podcast, which is a beautiful thing. And she was just telling me, how devastating and how hurt, you know, she was when it just really affected her life. It affected her life. She was going to college. She has she's a single mom, and she was going forward, and she was being positive, which she still is, but she was just explaining, and I could feel it, how her brother being locked up affected not only his life but her life. And Lincoln, that's what he do while he's been in prison. He supports, everyone that comes through them doors. He's been in there for 20 years, so he knows how the prison goes or works, and he experienced how it feels to be away from your family for a long length of time. It just hurts my heart when I talk about it. But like I always tell my other children, I thank God that he's alive and I can go visit him. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. Especially the way this world is and this society is. I am so grateful. But still in all, I truly believe, this God's plan. And he has come across so many people in prison, and so many has come across him, and have communicated with him, and has became hopeful and inspired. Lincoln has encouraged and inspired hope into so many prisons, and I know that's God. I know that's a mission from God, and I know that's what God guided him to do. But I don't know. Maybe they'll come back on. If you guys see that we have a Zoom app up there, because we was hoping that who's ever up this morning would join us, and communicate with a lot of people. Because we had a good conversation last night. I mean, we was talking about the community, the leaders, the churches. You know, we was talking about all this stuff in the community, which I saw all these programs and committees and churches and leaders and grants and all this stuff in the community. But still, in all, no one uh, has ever made it to the prisons to support the prisons, you know, or talk to the prisoners, or find out what's going on in the prison and find out what's going on not only with the people in prisons but with their loved ones. You know, and the church is supposed to be the pillar of the community. And these programs and committees, I don't care what your program, what you invented and made the name of your program to get grants. You can still do something for the community. You can still do something for the guys who are in prison. You know, you can still do a support system between the guys in prisons and their loved ones and their families. You know, you can support that. But that's another subject that you guys know I've been talking about that for 5 years. Um, like I said, I'm doing something new here this morning. I think I got us on live. Let me see. I was trying to set us up on YouTube, and I have Zoom for if anyone wants to zoom in, they can. Okay. Uh-huh. Duplicate stream keys. Okay. Here we go. Good morning again, everyone, to Prison Politics, and thank you for joining us here this morning on Prison Politics. If these walls could talk, we are a podcast. This is a podcast that was created by my son, Lamar Caldwell, who about 5 years ago he created this podcast to give prisoners support, mainly hope, support, and help. And when Lincoln went to prison back in 2006, um, he ran across hundreds of guys, hundreds of guys in prison that didn't have no outside support, didn't have no one to call, didn't have no one to talk to, and I kept money on my son books so he could call me every day, 3 and 4 times a day. And I'm thinking this is what, because it's such a traumatized experience to have your loved one in prison, especially if they haven't committed a crime like killed no one, or and they was convicted on what do they call them, jailhouse snitches or hearsay or false or let's make a deal, false testimonies, you know, because someone in prison and they're serving 16 or 20 years and they want to get out now, so they'll make a deal with the investigator or the prosecutor and get on the stand and lie on that person, cause that person to be sentenced in prison for a long length of time because of the lies that he got on him. Quite a few people did that, but still in all, God God is in control, and that's what I told my son when he first got. God's in control, you know. He's got a plan, and I truly believe the plan was for Lincoln to reach out to other guys. He got a chance to see. There's so many young men and men in prison that do not have no one to call, no outside support, no one to call or talk to, you know, or nothing. And Lincoln, uh, he would tell me that when he called me, man, you know, wasn't no standing in line because the calls cost. The calls wasn't free, but the calls just got free here in Minnesota 2 years ago. So, you know, he would have a lot of different inmates and prisoners call me, you know, and he would like, Ma, I gave them your number so they could call you, you know, and talk. You could talk to them, or you could support them and help them. Maybe they trying to contact, you know, their female friend, or maybe they're trying to contact their family. Maybe they're trying to contact a lawyer. You know, maybe they're trying to file a appeal or whatever. But I mean, it's a beautiful thing when Lincoln went into prison, and I took that trip to Washington D.C. You know, he was working on the inside and I was working on the outside. He was encouraging prisoners to have hope. Try to get out of here. Have hope. Work on getting out of here. And I was encouraging the families on the outside to have hope and motivating them. Get your loved one out of there, you know. And, you know, like I say, all this, I truly believe, know that was in God's plan. This was all in God's plan. And so after doing that for so many years, Lincoln just money that he had saved up from working in prison, he was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and open up a podcast, you know, so they can have somewhere to call, and it's not gonna just be here in Minnesota. It's gonna be global. The prisoners global could call in, you know, from around the world. And I said, okay, if that's what you want to do, because my mind, to be honest, was on, I'm trying to get you out of here. You was wrongfully convicted, and I went to Washington D.C. You know, and I'm trying to get you out of here. But it was like he was using me to try to get him out of there to help other people. Praise God, which I am not mad, because that's a beautiful thing. And if anything, I am proud of him. I am proud of him that he has the passion and the care, you know, for other people. That I am. But so you know, we started the podcast, and it was Mondays was legal day. Prisoners were calling in about their case. Tuesdays was mentor day. Prisoners would call in and talk to the youth, you know, and let them know what's going on in prison, let them know what's going on out in the streets, and how to prevent them from going to prison, prevent them from committing a crime. Wednesdays was Mother's Day. Mothers would call in who had loved ones in prison, and we also had invited mothers to call in who have lost a loved one in the street. Uh, that's a hard pain. I you know, and I heard it's the hardest pain to go through in the world. And so we had Wednesdays for Mother's Day. Thursdays we had for Thursday was for Lover's Day. If someone got a loved one in prison, I mean, if a guy is in prison and you know he's got a wife or a girlfriend that is not really, he's not really able to be in contact with, because like I said at the time that we started the podcast, there was no all costs, and we would call guys will call the podcast and, get us to contact their loved one that was on Thursdays. Even and or find someone that they're looking for. We would do that. And we call that Lovers Day, Thursday. Friday was Talent Day. We encourage prisoners from global all around the world to call in. And a lot of them would have beautiful motivational speeches that they would speak on. Some of them had beautiful motivational poems. Some of them had songs that they hadn't even written in prison. I mean, these is where all the skilled, fine men at in prison. Skilled, fine black men in prison. But anyhow, so they would call, and we weren't able to pay much, but every Friday we would put $35 on their account, whoever won the talent. And it was fun. They would call in, and like I say a motivational speech. Some of them would call in singing, some of them would call in rapping. Then we would take a vote online, for people who was following or watching and asking, was number one, who you pick, one, two, three. We usually only had like three that'll do it at a time of four. And whoever win, we would put $35 immediately on their books that day. Right that day during the podcast. So we did that for a year. And like I say, all calls was free. We have gotten calls from people in New York, Denver, Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, Chicago, Georgia, Arkansas. We was getting calls from around the world from different prisons. And the amazing thing about this is that we didn't turn it into something like we didn't turn it into non-profit. We didn't ask for no grants. We didn't get no grants, and we didn't turn it into non-profit. Lincoln didn't want non-profit. He didn't want grants. He really wanted this to be for prisoners. He really wanted this to be to support and help prisoners. And the thing about it is, he didn't want no kind of rules, regulations, or policies on it. So back to this morning why I'm on so early. I supposed to have a host, Susie Carmichael, and her brother and a couple of more people from Rush City Prison that was supposed to be calling in and joining us this morning. But with with the prison, it's something's something always pops up while in prison. Something always pops up. So uh, maybe they had modified lockdown. They've been having that a lot. A lot of guys from Stillwater Prison over to Rush City, and they've been having a lot of modified lockdown where they don't come out, but maybe once or twice for some hours, or they be locked down, or either the phones be off. So I don't know what happened, but I was just explaining why I was on early this morning. But we will be back on all this week. I will be coming on all this week because it's a lot of prisoners have been calling and wanting to be on the podcast and let their voice be heard. And at the same time, um, if you got a loved one in prison, if you have a loved one in prison that have something to talk about or need someone to talk to, they're welcome. They're welcome to call. Our number is listed 651 373 2104. They are welcome to join in with us whenever we are on live. And with that, I'm going to say, if before I get off the air, if there's anybody who would like to be on the podcast and host and would like to support and help your loved one in prison or other ones that's in prison, you are welcome. There's no red tape. There's nothing you have to go through. All you have to do is call and let us know. Um, yeah. So with that, I'm going to say I'll see you guys the next time. Today I will be putting on something for today I will be putting on probably a prayer. You know me. If prisoner's not able to come on, we will be putting on a prayer. Yeah. So again, remember, prayer changes things. Prayer changes people. Faith open doors, and faith open prison doors too. With that, I'm gonna say I love you guys, and if you ever have anything to talk about, anything that's gonna help the community and help our community and the prisoners community, give us a call. It's no problem, and you're welcome to come on. That I love you guys, and hope you have a blessed day. Hope you have a blessed day at work for you guys who are working, and I will see you later.